SEO plugin may it be any SEO plugin, may it be RankMath or other SEO plugins. But with RankMath, we have a very tight and sleek integration with Elementor, which I'm going to show you, which makes the entire process really easy. So let me just get started. So this is a new installation of WordPress. So first of everything, I'll show you the very important thing, which we have seen that most of the people miss, but that also affects your website. Head over to the settings and then click on the general settings. Always ensure that the WordPress URL and the site URL are same and they do not contain any forward slashes, because WordPress adds that automatically. So let's say if you add a forward slash, what happens is that the URLs become something like this. Instead of having a single forward slash, it will have a double forward slash. So you do not need to add anything in here. And both the variations must be same. It shouldn't be like that one of the variation contains www and the other one does not contain that. That is going to hamper your website's accessibility, because most of the times your website will end up not getting opened on most of the internet providers. The second thing is that if your website is new, I would recommend you to use the post name structure of the URLs. What this does is that it makes your URLs user friendly so that they are easy to remember. Unlike such URLs where you cannot remember what the URL of a post is, and then you have to go through the website and then search for the article. So, but if you have an established website, do not change the URL structure. There is a common misconception where people think that changing the URL structure impacts their search engine rankings. That does not happen. It is actually quite the opposite. If your website is already established and you change the URL structure of your website is definitely going to see a decline, and it might take a few months before it get back to the normal traffic that you were having on your website. So it is not recommended. So for installing the RankMath plugin, you can simply click on add new from the plugins menu. You can either search for RankMath or you can search for SEO. You can find both of them. You'll find us uh, um, on WordPress.org, and then you can click on install and activation. The setup wizard of RankMath is pretty simple, so I'm not going to go through the entire process. The one of the very important things that you got to remember when you run the setup wizard, uh, I'm sorry that my internet is working is a bit slow today. So one of the things that you got to ensure when using the RankMath is that you choose the advanced mode. So let's say even if you have already installed the RankMath plugin, you can head back to the dashboard area, and from here, easy and advanced mode. The reason for you to have the advanced mode is so that you get to see more options in the RankMath plugin, which are not shown to everyone, especially someone who's just starting out, because then people might feel overwhelmed with the options that we have provided in the plugin. So after you have completed your installations, there are several video tutorials, even in German, on YouTube that you can search, and then you can configure the RankMath plugin. Once you are done with that, then head over to the SEO Analysis tab in the RankMath plugin and click on the analysis. What this does is that our RankMath plugin automatically analyzes your homepage and few sections of your website to give you some important aspects of SEO which are commonly missed by people. Let's say uh, the heading tag on the homepage. Uh, it should be added. People might say that it does not impact the search engine rankings. That is true, but it does impact the accessibility. By accessibility, I mean that if people that use the screen reader when using a website might find it difficult to find the information on your web pages. So it is always recommended that you use a hierarchy. By hierarchy, I mean that the title of the page or the post should be in the H1 tag, followed by H2, H3, so on, so that if someone is reading through your article, they can easily use the screen readers. And Google does take the accessibility into one of their ranking factors. So as you can see on this website, there are some images that do not have the alt text. So by alt text, I mean is that this image, if someone has a slow internet connection of the, or if the image is not loading, or if someone is using a screen reader, they won't be able to see the image. So for seeing the image, they an alt text, an alternative text must be added to the image. As you can see, the alt is showing up in here. So this tag is being added in the backend of WordPress. I'll show you from where you have to add that. You always have to ensure that these alt text are always added to all the images that are present on your website. You can click on this, how to fix, and it will show you the uh, uh, description on how to fix. Otherwise, you can also click on this link, which opens up on our website, and it goes through all the details step by step on how you can fix the errors that are being shown. Let's say if we were talking about the image alt, and then how to set them up, you can further click and then get to know how to add the alt text. So likewise, there are several tests in here that you must check and then ensure that most of the tests are passing. For instance, on this website, it is showing that search engines can't index your website. This is because this is a test website, and if you go to the reading settings on your website, you can see that we have clicked discourage search engines. So you can untick, click on save changes, and after saving the changes, if you run the SEO analysis again, you would notice that that error is not no more applicable to your website. Likewise, you can check all the different settings on your website and then uh, ap- uh, apply the fixes so that your website becomes not only accessible to the users but also to the search engines. There are a lot of things in here that you can go through, and as I mentioned, that you can simply click on this link. It will open up in a new tab, and then you can go through the entire knowledge base article, which is very in depth. But this is something we highly recommend for the advanced users, that you must go through this process. Then uh, initially I mentioned that RankMath is very deeply integrated with the Elementor page editor. By that I meant is that when you open the Elementor editor, you, after installing the RankMath plugin, you will see a new tab called SEO. When you click on that tab, you will see the entire RankMath panel just inside the Elementor editor. Now you do not have to go back into your Gutenberg editor or Classic editor and then make the SEO changes there, come back to the Elementor editor, refresh the page and see how much, how well are you scoring in terms of the tests that are added in the RankMath plugin. So there are several tests in the plugin that are run against the focus keyword. By focus keyword, I mean is the keyword that someone searches when they are looking for your website or for the content that you have written. These are called the keywords. So you should always be trying to optimize your content against a keyword. Do not write a piece of content aimlessly. Most of the times we see that people say that, okay, I got to simply write a content and it will rank eventually. That is like there is a quote that failing to prepare is preparing to fail. So you got to always ensure that your keyword research is done before you start writing the article. So once you do that, there are several tests in here, and very similar tests or maybe less tests are available in other SEO plugins as well. But I got to emphasize that unless these tests are making sense for your article, do not religiously follow them. Just because, let's say, if someone is if a plugin like RankMath is asking you to add this focus keyword in the URL of the post, do not add that unless it makes sense to you. So likewise, there are several tests. One of the tests that I'm highlighting here is adding the image alt text. So let's say for this image, when you click on the edit button, you will notice there is an alternative text. This is called the alt text. So what people do is that they try and keyword stuff this. So they'll, rather than putting up something informational about the image, they'll simply add something like schema markup, because they are trying to rank for this keyword. But that is not how the image SEO works. For the images, Google uses their NLP, which is called the natural language processing, and their image processor. So they very well know about almost all the images on the web, that what that image actually represents, and that is what they are looking in the alternative text. So always ensure that you are entering something which is meaningful to the users first, because you are helping the people with that are using the screen readers, so that they can understand about the images. So you click on update. So this is how you add the alt text to the images. And then then let's say there is an image and there is a video in the article. um, okay, so let's say I'm just picking up this link and I'm adding that inside the article. Let's say I'll add it in here. Just so let's say if you are adding a video inside the article that you're writing, whether you are adding it as a link or whether you are embedding that video inside the post, what you got to do is that click on the SEO and then click on the third tab, which is the schema tab. You would notice the video schema gets added automatically. So what it does is that whenever someone searches for uh, a keyword, let's say something like this, you would notice that um, videos. Okay, you would notice that the articles also show up, because since RankMath has way too many videos. But what happens is that the such thumbnails also show up for the articles on your website, and such thumbnails and the listing inside the videos tab is being done through the schema markup, which you can add in the schema tab. So you can simply click on edit and then add the things which make sense. Maybe let's say you can skip the upload date, and then you can I mean, all the fields are being automatically picked by RankMath. But in case you want to further edit this, you can always edit the fields and the values in here, and you can also click on the advanced editor. But if only use the advanced editor of schema if you know what you are doing, because once you enter in this advanced schema, you cannot revert back to the normal schema that I showed you, because otherwise the values won't save. In here, you can simply copy the feed so that you can add more complex schema to your website. But this is something requires a complete different tutorial or a presentation on how to use this advanced schema. But if someone is aware of it, they can utilize it. Otherwise, they can also check the article that we have on our website, because that covers this schema markup in detail. So after the I mean, you can utilize multiple schema if you have the RankMath premium version on your website. So what this does is that it as you can see that article and video, two different type of schema types are being added to this article. So what this does is that RankMath plugin instructs and tells the Google search bot whenever they come to your website that this is an article that contains the video as well. So what this does is that it helps Google crawl your pages effectively and check against the schema markup that you have provided to the search engine bots, and that way you get a better chance to rank better in the search results. So you can add multiple schema, and one of the things that is very unique to RankMath is that we add a nested graph entity schema. I'm using a word which not everyone might be familiar, but you can think of it as a flow chart, that all these schema types, they are interlinked to each other rather than adding the schema markup using a plugin, because there are several plugins that can help you add the schema markup. They all use the schema markup in a way that they are not connected to each other. But in the RankMath plugin, the entire schema markup is being connected and tied up closely. And this is one of the things that gives an edge to the big websites, big publications like CNN, everything, and all the other websites. So this is an edge that you get with the RankMath plugin. And then, as I mentioned, you can add the multiple schema, and you can also import the schema. So let's say your competitor, let's say, is RankMath. So you simply copy the URL, come back to the editor, click on import, and then you can either choose the HTML code, URL, or the JSON, whatever you have handy with you, and simply enter that. As soon as you click on the import, you can see that the RankMath plugin now has pulled all the schema from that page or that website to you. Now, all you got to do is click on use and simply change the values in here. So let's say it is going to be rmapi.xyz, and then you can change all the values, and you are and click on save this post, and now you are ready with the schema that your competitor has implemented on their website. This way it eases your process to add the schema markup for let's say your competitor is RankMath for WooCommerce SEO. As you can see, the star rating is being shown, and not all the results are showing the star rating in their search results. What this does is that this helps you catch more eyes and eventually helps you get more clicks whenever someone is searching, because uh, uh, because the review schema type is being added to this page. But let's say if you do not know how to add that, then you got to simply click on the link, copy the URL, come back to Elementor, click on schema generator, import, and from the URL, as you can see, all these different types are being imported in a click of a button, and you click on use and then simply change the values to whatever values are being presented on your website, and click save for this post. So this is how you can utilize the schema markup, which is advanced and is available in the RankMath plugin. One of the cool things is that if you are using the Elementor Pro and RankMath Pro, then whenever you add the according widget using the Elementor editor, you can see that it shows a new toggle that says add FAQ schema markup. What this does is that whenever someone is searching for uh, it is not showing up right now. Maybe from my IP it is not showing. Sam, where to stay in Zagreb? Maybe no. So let me just FAQs. How this shows up is this is how it shows up. So whenever someone searches, Google has now kind of limited the FAQ schema to the websites, but this is one of the ways to get more traffic from search engines. So when you add the FAQ to an article, which is something always recommended, let's say you are writing an article where to stay in Berlin. So when you are writing about it, then you must incorporate the FAQs around that. Let's say uh, the best hotel, what are the best hotels in Berlin, what are the best parks in Berlin, what are the best food joints in Berlin, things like that. And all those things could be added in the according widget. And when you add them, just simply click on this toggle, and the FAQ schema markup gets added to your pages. So this is another benefit that you get when you're using the RankMath Pro and the Elementor Pro plugin. One of the things that you can do with the RankMath plugin is create advanced redirection. So I'll click on the RankMath dashboard and then enable the redirection module. And when you click on the redirection module, you can create all sort of advanced redirections on your website. So redirections are helpful, especially in case when you have lots of 404 pages on your website, or you notice that Google Search Console is throwing errors that people and is throwing error that your website is not accessible using X URL, and then you can redirect to the Y URL. There is a detailed tutorial that you can learn by clicking here, where you can learn more about how to add the advanced redirection. One of the things that I'll show you is very cool in the RankMath plugin is that, let's say you want to redirect several URLs to a single URL. Let's say you want everything to be redirected to the uh, homepage of your website. So and you have tens of different URLs. What you do is that you copy all these URLs at once and simply paste them inside. As you can see, I just pasted all these URLs from my notepad, and they all are being added instead of you manually adding all the different URLs in here. So it eases your work process. It eases your process of adding the redirections, and then you can simply click on add redirection, and all these URLs, all these URLs are now going to redirect to the desired URL that you want, so that you do not see any 404 pages. And for that as well, in the RankMath plugin, there is a 404 monitor. So let's say um, your some of the pages on your website, let's say I'll just open up a random URL. So as you can see, this page is not available on my website. So as soon as uh, I enabled the 404 monitor, you could notice that the 404 pages on your website are being recorded inside the RankMath plugin. And now what you can do is just by with a click of a button, you can now create a redirect so that you can fix all these URLs on your website, and the users do not face any issues, and also the search engine bots. And one of the things that is exclusive to RankMath is the analytics module. So what you can do is that you can use Google Analytics, and you can also make that GDPR friendly. So we have worked closely with people that that have worked with the analytics team, and after consulting with them, we have created a way so that Google Analytics is also GDPR compatible, because we know that people, especially from Germany and the European countries, are very much wary of the GDPR rules, and they do not want to use Google Analytics. But with RankMath, you can use it. There are settings. So whenever you are setting up the RankMath plugin, you will notice an option to anonymize all the IPs, so that your visitors do not get recorded. Uh, once you have the RankMath plugin configured with your Google Analytics and Search Console, you get to see various stats. These statistics are very important if you are trying to squeeze in more traffic from your current articles. What happens is that people think that they got to publish more and more articles on their website to drive more traffic, but that is not always the case. What actually happens is that I'll show you an example that sometimes what happens is that there are certain articles that are ranking, let's say, on position 11th, or the positions that are very close to the first 10 positions. So it is much more easy to optimize such articles rather than writing new articles and then trying to get them ranked. It is always easier to get your already published articles. So in the keyword tab, once you scroll down and check the keywords that you have, you can also sort them with the with the position, that whatever their position is. Let's say this article, so I want to know what article is actually ranking for this particular keyword. As soon as I click on it, you would notice that all these articles are competing against this keyword. So this is something that you can instantly fix on your website. This is called the keyword cannibalization. What happens is that now Google is not able to determine which of these articles, do not mind the titles because these are random and the data is dummy. So Google is not able to determine which of these 5 articles actually fits the intent when someone is searching for best free SEO plugin for WordPress. So what you can do is that you can combine all these 5 articles into a single article that is much more useful, so that you can pass the link choose to a single article and then create the redirection using 301 for all the remaining articles that you are now going to delete after merging all the articles into one. So this is a very handy feature, and it also helps you determine the trend of the position, so that you can see if one of your article is jumping way too much. So and this is also a good opportunity to get your article easily ranked, because then you know that Google was trying to show your article in a higher position on the search results, but then it noticed that people are not clicking on your search result. So an easy fix for that is simply change the title of the post. And for that as well, we have a test where we suggest the users to use I use a power word, and by power word I mean the words that help you grab more clicks through the search results. So let's say an article is there which says uh, remedies, homemade remedies of coronavirus, and then there is another article that says something like 10 proven ways to cure corona um, uh, uh, using home remedies. Users are much more likely to click on the second title because it invokes an emotion in them. It may be it could make them curious about the article, that what is it that and what are those 10 ways, and I got to see if those 10 one of those 10 ways could help me out or something like that. So the RankMath plugin has a dedicated list of power words inside it, and we are 100% compatible with the German power words as well. So as I mentioned, that you can also use a power word in your article titles. For instance, in this article, the power word is only, and you can write something like Schema Markup, the only guide you need to read in 2001. All these titles invoke the emotions, and people are much more likely to click on it. But at the same point of time, you got to ensure that your article is actually justifying the power word or the catchy title that you have used So let's say if I'm writing an article on schema markup and I have completed the entire article in a couple of paragraphs, so that is not going to justify and justify the intent of the user that is searching, because on the one hand you are saying that this is going to be the guide, the only guide that you got to read, so you got to be as detailed as possible. As you can see in this article, this is a very thorough article where we have covered almost everything about schema markup and how to add that to your website and how to check that. So these are the things that you can use with the RankMath plugin. And then there are email reporting functionality as well in the RankMath plugin. You can also check the positions of your pages, how they are performing, what are the top 5 winning posts in for the given period. You can choose between 3 months, 6 months, 6 months, or 30 days, and then you can see what are your winning posts, the losing posts, and then you can also sort all these articles, and then always try and optimize the articles that are ranking below position 5, because then you have a better chance to push those articles into the first 3 position. And instead of publishing new articles, you can now drive more traffic using your current articles. So there are like several things in the RankMath plugin that could be utilized, but I believe for the demonstration purpose and for helping you utilize the basic unique features of RankMath, this should suffice. So if you have any questions, I am here to answer. Please let me know. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this run through. I was like, schema markup. I already have, there is already a 1 or 2 question regarding this. Let me pull that up. This famous stars everybody wants in the search results, right? The rating, structured star snippet, however you call it. How do I make that I get it? I mean, obviously I need to have some sort of ranking service that clients give me those stars, but how do I get them into my into the SERP results that show me with a star rating?
Okay, so there are like a couple of things in here. The star ratings could be shown in the local SEO. So let's say if I am searching for best restaurants in the place where I am right now. So all these results that you're seeing in here and the star ratings, these are not being pulled by any SEO plugin. For this, you got to utilize Google My Business. So you get in here, register your website, and then add all the relevant information, so that whenever whenever someone is searching for your uh, um, um, your shop or your service, they get to see the results directly inside the search result, and they do not have to go to your website. So for this, you have to add all these things in the Google My Business, and then whenever someone walks into your to your shop, or whenever someone likes the food, you can always request them to write a review on Google, but you do not have to incentivize them. Do not do that mistake that you say that if you write a review for us on Google, then you are going to get 10% discount on your next order. Do not do that, because Google does not appreciate that, and they might blacklist your website. So you definitely do not want that. And now let's talk about the star ratings. As let's say if you are adding a blog article on your website, or a page on your website, and you want to show these ratings, as you can see the RankMath plugin.
I was referring to that.
Okay. So in that case, what you got to do is that you click on the SEO tab, click on the schema tab. So as this article is about WooCommerce, and WooCommerce is a product. So in that case, what you got to do is that scroll down and choose the product schema markup. And now you can add the fields that are applicable to that product. For instance, I'm not sure what is the SKU value of WooCommerce, so I'm going to skip that. But I definitely know the brand name, so that is going to be WooCommerce. The brand URL would be the WooCommerce.com, and GTIN is something I do not know. MPN, I do not know. Additional type, I do not know. Manufacturer, I'm not sure. Price, definitely I know that it starts with $0, as in it also offers a free plugin, apart from the paid offerings that it has. And then you open the website and see in which currency they are selling. If they are selling in euro, then you can enter EUR. If they are selling in American dollars, then you can enter USD. And in stock, yes, definitely, because otherwise what happens is that if you click on sold out or pre-order, your results might not show up higher on the search results. Price valid until you do not know. Now this is the part where you define the rating. So let's say if you want to rate a product or a service, let's say a 4.9 out of 5, then you enter 4.9 in here, and then you define the maximum rating. It could be 5 or 10, but usually it goes up to 5, and then the minimum rating could be 1. So this is how you add the
Oh, that's not something that's
star.
pulled from an external service. That's something you put into yourself. Oh, that's easy.
Yeah,
I always will have a
yeah,
4.9 to make it look a bit more credible.
Yeah, 4.9 or 4.8, but there are certain limitations to it. So if you head over to the RankMath website, click on help and then knowledge base, and you can read this
Review
review
stars schema. Yeah.
Yeah, so review schema type. So what Google recently did is that Google does not allow adding the star ratings to all these schema types. Let's say you cannot add star ratings to your articles, but you can definitely add this to yes, these are the types that to which you can add the star rating. So as WooCommerce was a product, Elementor is a product. If you're writing about a recipe, if you're writing about a course or an event or a book or even a software application, then only you can add the ratings to your article to your pages, and then they will eventually be picked by Google, and your star ratings will be shown there.
So if I have a hairdresser salon and I want to show those stars, and hairdressing or cutting hair is a service, so this is not possible then.
No, for a service, I mean, Google does not allow that. For all those services, since those services kind of fall into the local SEO section, so for that, it is always advised to
use Google My Business,
get the reviews on Google. Yeah.
Okay, good. I got that. Well, thanks. I mean, I still had a very foggy concept where for the how those stars are end up in the SERP result, because I mean Google keeps changing obviously, and so that's the current status. Okay, anything that can be in Google My Business is not, it cannot be added to the SERP, and if it's not able, and then you can have like a handful or 2 handfuls of types that can be shown in the SERP result. Okay. You had, that's my question actually, you had a SEO check in the dashboard, and then you went into where all sorts of checks have been done, you know, the SEO analysis, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And some of the words here look relatively similar to the integrated SEO in the Elementor editor. Can you go back? I mean, you know, this SEO description, H1 heading, how much, you know, I mean, is this identical? Is this kind of identical? Do I really need to do both? Because I mean, obviously I was unaware that SEO analysis existed, and I always was using the integrated one because it's just so handy.
Yeah. So the SEO analyzer in the RankMath plugin, what this does is that it checks your home page, not just not all the single pages. For single pages, there is a different way I'll show you. So what this does is that it also checks your website. So let's say, as I mentioned, that this is not just limited to the tests that are being shown inside the Elementor editor, because those tests are kind of more advanced and are much more inclined when someone is writing a blog post or is optimizing their homepage. But these tests are like, I mean, let's say it helps you determine the errors that could be technical on your website and could be affecting your SEO. For instance, this test in particular. So what happens is that uh, you might have noticed that there are certain websites that are accessible from different using different variations. Let's say this variation will also open, and this variation without the www will also open. So that is like serving two different websites to your users and to the search engines. So that is called the canonization of the URLs, and that must be avoided at all the costs. So as I mentioned, that if you read the article and you go through the knowledge base article of SEO Analyzer, you will come to realize how to fix that in case that is something being shown crossed on your website. Likewise, it also checks if your website have the site maps, and it also helps
Okay.
you
Yeah, I
sorry,
think I got it
determine
now. The
yeah,
SEO analysis is more
yeah,
technical and more
yeah,
website as a whole, correct?
yeah,
You know, it
so,
just
yeah, exactly.
gives you
For
things to
instance,
work on for the whole website. All right, so it's
yeah,
different to
yeah,
and
yeah,
the SEO here exactly. It's just a pure text article
yeah,
analysis
it
and
is
has
it
nothing to do for the
against the
product.
article that you're writing.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Okay, fine. Let me just get the next question. And then the next word, the SEO analysis checks only the homepage. I think we've just answered it. It checks all sides of that website from a more technical angle.
yeah,
Okay,
homepage and various things on your website.
exactly. Will there be in the future a option to connect to Matomo?
We thought of that, and that is one of the reasons we made the Google Analytics GDPR friendly. We, in fact, published an article how we did that in case someone wants to dig deep into that, and they can read the entire article because we have like quite a huge audience and customers from Germany, and we always were asked that if an integration with Memoto could be done. So the reason we want to avoid adding integrations of other platforms is that because we are not just serving just to the European citizens but to the entire globe, and adding more stuff into the plugin will blot it, and then people will complain that rank math is as slow as the other SEO plugins, and that is definitely not the case. So we want to keep the rank math plugin really fast, and so that is the reason we did not add the integration, and we do not have an immediate plan to add that. But you can go through this article and come to know how we have made the rank math plugin GDPR compliant with Google Analytics.
And the link between Google Analytics and RankMath is this an advanced feature, or is this a free feature?
It is also in the free version of the rank math plugin. So
Can you
when
just
someone is
show me where you do that?
yeah,
Sorry, audience,
yeah,
if I
so
ask my
you
personal questions here.
yeah, sure. So this is how you connect that, and uh, if you click on install analytics code, then you can make the plugin GDPR compliant. You can also anonymize the IP addresses, and then you can also self-host the analytics on your website. But this feature in particular is available in the pro version of the plugin, because these are the advanced features. But if someone just wants to install the analytics on their website, then they can use that. But for utilizing the GDPR friendly thing, they got to use the pro version of the plugin.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Next question I have here. How is SEO for e-commerce website different to blogs and articles? And then another person asks, how is SEO for e-commerce different? I guess those two questions go into the same direction, so I guess you can answer them together.
Yeah, so those are great questions, and I can completely relate to that. RankMath is also an e-commerce website because we are selling a product from here. So it could be a single product or several products. So one of the things and one of the strategies that you can use, and which is also working for us, is that you create a blog section on your website. And when you are creating a blog section, do not add something like on a subdomain blog.rankmath.com. Instead, add your blog section uh, uh, as a separate page on your website. This is very easy. So that the link juice and the authority of a website also gets passed to your
Main domain.
to your blog section. And then what you can do is that you write articles around your products or a product. So let's say in this case, we have written an article around local SEO, where we are teaching people about how to optimize their website for local SEO. And in the same article, you can notice that we are in a very subtle manner recommending the rank math plugin, because we know that we have way too many options and our product is really good for doing the SEO. We are recommending them, but we are not pushing it to them. We are satisfying the intent of the users. Let's say if someone is searching for the local SEO, they get to read the entire article, and then they will see rank math as a solution. Likewise, on your websites, the e-commerce websites, you could write the articles around your products. And but then comes up a question that I have 2000 products on my website, how could I write about all of them? You got to use the 80-20 principle. You can go through the analytics of your e-commerce store and determine the 20% of the products that are generating 80% of the revenue of your website, and then you start writing the articles around those 20% of the those 20% of the products. And that is how you optimize your website further for e-commerce.
Okay, so you have to make a decision, right? If you're selling socks, you have to be strong on sock content, and then if it goes to the different sizes and colors and patterns and prints, you go more, you go less. You cannot go detailed, unless you can spend a ton of time. I mean, I have heard of more or less artificial intelligent text machines that will apparently will just give you decent text for different articles. And well, I mean, if somebody's here that can share some knowledge on it, we have time for that later.
Yeah, I mean, there are several tools, especially on AppSumo. There are a couple of tools that got sold. One of them I remember on top of my head was Conversion AI, and then there was another called Phrase. Those articles definitely help you with the production of your content in an automated way because they utilize the AI. But again, as you asked about the socks, so in that case, you do not have to be in depth. You got to be creative. 10 different reasons why you should be wearing the socks even in the summers. 10 different designs that are very popular in my country.
Which usually comes back to creative storytelling.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, I would like to go on to the next question. Also, if I am creating a new website, and should I take in page SEO together as well, or wait until I finish building my website? So if I understand that question correctly, should you, start writing with an SEO target, or will you just write the article the way you write it and then you change it to perform better? What's your opinion?
Yeah.
How do you start your articles that rank at RankMath?
Yeah, great question. So I would highly recommend that you build a plan first. As I was saying during the presentation, that failing to prepare is preparing to fail. So if you do not prepare your article to get ranked, then it will become a huge task for you to get it ranked eventually. So always emphasize on the keyword research first. And even if your website is new, always have a mindset to optimize your articles firstly for the users, because at the end of the day, users are going to read your articles and they must feel satisfied that they have got the required information from your website, and then try and optimize it for the search results. And in that process you can use tools like RankMath and things like that. So
Okay.
do not delay your SEO to a part. When you see that you are now getting some traffic, you should now optimize your website. No, start right off uh, whenever you start your website, and then optimize, and then start writing the articles and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, from what I hear and read, you set out with clustering your content. So you have big topics, and then you start clustering. You like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How many clusters? And around those clusters,
Exactly.
you start writing. You start writing content that put juice to your main subclusters. Okay, good. Does RankMath?
I just wanted to add. Sorry,
Go ahead.
sorry to interrupt. I wanted to add. The technique that you just mentioned, the clustering, is actually called siloing. So you can search for a silo article from Authority Hacker, and this is again an advanced way to structure your website, but this is very effective. As Gene was talking about it, you go through this article, and this will help you determine. This is what he was talking about. You create various clusters. These are called clusters, and the entire technique is called the silo structure of your website. This is very effective. It takes time to implement, but again, the results are very nice. We have tried this out.
Okay, good. Then does RankMath Google Analytics integration has Google Analytics 4 optioned and enhanced e-commerce?
For Google Analytics 4, that is still in the beta version. So you can what you can do is that you can again go to our knowledge base articles and search for GA4, and then this is how you can go through this article to understand how to use Google Analytics 4 with RankMath. That is very much a possibility. But as far as the enhanced e-commerce tracking is concerned, that is not yet implemented in the RankMath plugin, but that is a great feature, and I'll definitely pass on this to our developers, and we will see what we can do about that.
Okay, because I mean, sooner or later, Google Analytics 4 will be the dominant software, but I hope it's slow, because I guess along the way there's going to be several hiccups and bugs to fix. And have you had a look
they
at?
haven't rolled out the stable version of their API yet. So we can definitely integrate that. But again, as you mentioned, there will be bugs, and we do not want that. Once Google releases the final version of their API of Google Analytics 4, within a week or so, we will definitely be integrating that in the RankMath plugin.
Bhanu, if I may, what is the other option for enhanced e-commerce if I want to use Google Analytics with RankMath?
For enhanced, to be honest, we are not using any other plugin on our website, but I have heard that Monster Insights, they might have the enhanced integration of WooCommerce. In that case, you can simply turn off the integration of RankMath, or even if you do not want to turn off the integration of analytics in the RankMath plugin, you can remove the option to install the analytics code via RankMath plugin, and then use the third-party plugin like Monster Insights or Analytify, if I can recall the name well, they might have the enhanced e-commerce tracking in their plugins.
Okay, so please get enhanced e-commerce for the pro version. That'll be great. Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, that is a great feature, and I'll definitely be passing on this request to our developers, and we will see.
Okay. There is somebody asking for webinars, videos, etc. And as I have learned, you put a lot of effort into articles, which seem to be very long and very detailed. Also, well, number one resources is the source. Does RankMath produce videos and tutorials they put onto the web, or is this done from other sides, video bloggers?
Glad that you asked. We have recently started publishing the articles, the videos on our channel. So we are still building the library. As you can see, there are videos on our YouTube channel. You can subscribe to that. So we are, as you can see, we are almost regularly publishing the videos lately. We are building up the library. So it might take us a few months to get there, but eventually all the articles, the knowledge base articles that we have on our website will have a dedicated video tutorial to that.
Okay, so you have a group of people assigned to doing these videos, and basically they have to work day and night because you have such a wealth of knowledge on your website.
Not day and night, but we have people working from all across the globe. So if someone is sleeping, then the other person is working. So this is how it is working.
RankMath is working day and night for us. That's nice to hear.
Yeah, we have people from all the different continents. If you go to About Us page, you would notice that you can see the people working from all across the globe.
Okay, and then there is a question from Mario, which I don't quite understand. Just checked before, RankMath or Analytics, and load only what you need. Are you still here, Mario? Can you explain? I don't quite understand what what your question is. Okay, he says typo, see next. So I'll see what he says. And then there, I'll check in the wizard, Matomo or Analytics, and only load what you need, so nothing gets bloated. You believe there should be parts of RankMath that should be turned off in order to keep the speed and the size attractive?
Okay, so for that,
Mario?
what we have is that he might be asking that how to optimize the analytics code on our, when using the RankMath plugin. So if you're using the pro version, you would notice that you can self-host the JavaScript files of analytics, and this vastly improves the overall loading time of the analytics on your website. So this is something we have added specifically for in the RankMath plugin to help optimize the speed of your website when using the Google Analytics on your website. So I guess if he's asking about this.
Yeah, okay, good. This presentation will be available online, Ivan Diaz says, which, we do have our own Zurich Elementor page, but surely I can pass that link on so that it can be uploaded. And then Mario says Google is the devil, which is a bit scary in a way. And then Reinhard asks, how can I use best with Google Sitekit, especially about GDPR? Have you looked on to what Google Sitekit does? Because I quite like it, because it's, sort of integrates all Google products into a WordPress backend. But have you looked at it, and
We did not, I mean, check the Sidekit plugin deeply because they are kind of restricting the data that is being shown inside the plugin. And uh, last time I checked, their data wasn't that actionable. For like, I mean, I just showed you that the RankMath plugin can show you the articles for which an article for which the particular keyword is getting ranked. So all such data is very actionable, and you can easily implement the things and optimize your website further. But when it comes to Google Sitekit, and the last time when I checked, they only show the overview of the data, and then if you have to dig deep, you got to go to Google Search Console or
I
Google
reckon that.
Analytics.
I find that a little bit annoying.
Yeah,
But I mean, it's, if you really want to know, then you need to go to the source anyway,
yeah, exactly. And that is a cumbersome process. So again, we both are serving different audiences. They are serving to the people that just want the statistics in their on their website inside the WordPress dashboard, and we are showing detailed statistics that helps you optimize your website way further.
Okay, good. Sorry, checking the wizard, Matomo or Analytic, and only load what you need. I don't know if we've touched that before. In another meetup, an employee of Yoast says that you steal the code of Yoast. Well, that's an allegation. Is that true?
Yeah.
You're not stealing, right? Or are you?
The stealing is a very strong word to use. The entire code of WordPress, RankMath, or even Yoast and everything else is released under the GPL code. So what actually happened is that I'll quickly run through the story. That one of our employees referred to the code of Yoast, and they forgot to mention the crediting of Yoast, but that was added eventually. But if you go through the entire code library of RankMath, which is publicly available, you would notice that we have several various features that Yoast or any other SEO plugins are not offering. And in terms of lines of code, we are way less compared to Yoast. Sorry about that, but we have a huge respect about Yoast, and we do not see anything bad in them. But saying something stealing is not appropriate, especially when they represent a huge and a very huge authoritative image in the WordPress space. Because again, if we were stealing the code, they could have sued us, which has never happened. And top of it, the if we talk about the Elementor integration, we released that a year before Yoast did. So
I mean,
if the stealing, yeah, the stealing could be used. So I mean, we can also say that they refer to our code, but that is not the case. We are not worried about it. See, at the end of the day, our goal for RankMath wasn't to create an SEO plugin to generate revenue out of it. It was created out of need because all the other SEO plugins were slow, bloated, and they were not updating as much as they should have. And you must have noticed, all of you, that after the RankMath plugin entered into the space 2 years back, all the other SEO plugins are also evolving in terms of features and in terms of support that they are providing, which is a great thing for the entire SEO community.
I was going to say that subjectively, I had the impression that as soon as I saw the integration, I said, great. I had a look at RankMath, said, yeah, nice. That's what I need. It's easy, it's accessible, it's logic. And then all of a sudden, I mean, the only other SEO plugin I had on my radar was Yoast. And then I sort of noticed, okay, they're starting kind of waking up. And it's for every Yoast user who loves Yoast, his progress has gotten better now. That's one of your credits. I would just give you, because I mean you started anew, and you did it in a good way, which makes everybody a bit more competitive.
Yeah,
Now,
I mean, the end user gets benefited, and that is why, I mean, everyone should must stick to their motto, SEO for everyone. I mean, let's bring this community up rather than thinking of, I mean, otherwise there are several features in RankMath which are being incorporated in the other SEO plugins, and we do not want to point that out.
Yeah, you need to stay ahead. That's all you need.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, is Elementor too slow regarding a technical setup? I mean, you know, you've I guess you RankMath is you can use RankMath on any WordPress site, not just Elementor. What's your take on speed?
To be honest, I mean, there is a misconception around using the uh, using the page builders like Elementor. See, and when you are the reason the Elementor was needed and is very much needed these days is to help you ease the process of building your website faster, so that you do not have to fiddle around with the code. But once you are done with the Elementor editor and once you load your website for the users, you do not the Elementor editor all the entire page that is being gets converted into an HTML source. That way, irrespective of the page editor or the page builder you used, your website is going to load fast because the end user is seeing the HTML output of your website. So if your website is loading slow, most of the times we have seen it is due to a poor hosting environment. You got to ensure that your hosting environment is good, and there are several tools like web page speed which helps you determine if your hosting is slow before coming over to page editors or WordPress in general. Because otherwise, think of it, there are more than 8 million websites that are utilizing Elementor. If it was that slow, people would not have been using it.
Yeah, I mean, from what we hear, from Elementor as community leaders is, I mean, speed is on their list, definitely relatively high up. They've come up with several tweaks, and if I do a simple website, you know, nothing too fancy, nothing too heavy, desktop is somewhere in the 80s or 90s. If I don't install any additional plugins that you know, for designing the website. I mean, you know, on desktop, the quality is already quite good, but mobile can be quite poor at times with like 30 points out of 100 or something. But I mean, you know, I mean, at least you have the desktop speed quite high now.
Yeah, I mean, and we will soon be. I mean, even in the RankMath plugin, let me see if that is in there. What you can do is that you can see the top winning posts, and then once you click on that, uh, we run the page speed analysis, and we also have a very detailed tutorial coming up which will help you optimize your website further for speed, so that you get better scores when you are checking your website on Google page speed.
Somebody has his microphone open. Is that over with you, Bhanu, or is that somebody else?
Must be somebody else.
Okay, well, hope that he turns off the mic. Or okay, let me check. There is somebody saying, how would you gain backlinks as web designer? Should
As
you
a web
have
designer.
a backlink on every website you make, on the footer, for instance, or on the
No.
contact pages, or on the making up page, so that people would find you as a designer? Is that something sensible to do?
No, not actually. And all those tactics, they do not work anymore. So rather than focusing on, see, I can understand that for, especially for a web designer, what I would recommend, and this is how I would have done. I would have created a profile on Dribble and similar websites like Behance and all the other websites, and I would have showcased my portfolio there and try to build my my profile strong there, and then link it back to my website. This is how I would have done, and that would have been much easier rather than focusing on SEO, because at the end of the day, you are much more creative when designing graphics and stuff like that. You might not be that proactive when it comes to content or building backlinks to your website. So SEO is not something that everyone should be diving in just because it is out there. So it is much easier for you to optimize your social media profiles and then link everything back to your website. That is how you can rank much higher and much easier.
Okay, so use a, let me, so now, could you just mention the websites you can put, you can go to, and I will type them in the chat directly.
Sure.
Yeah. One of the websites I mentioned is Dribble, where you can
DRBB, yeah?
Yes, Dribble. This, and then
so next is
someone is talking in the
yeah, I guess it's
Behance.
Alex. Let me just check. Behance.at. No, .net.
Yeah.
Okay,
then
next.
There are several websites.
Yeah, that's the two.
Okay, and let me just. Actually, I'm not into all this stuff, but again, Instagram
yeah, I mean, just
Instagram.
Just give us those 2-3 names,
Instagram is one of them. I mean, you can always showcase your website on Instagram, and then websites showcase stuff for web designers, and for photographers. There are several websites, as you can see: Material Up, Awards, CSS Design, One Page. There are several other websites.
Okay, yeah, of course.
And
now,
then if
you have just mentioned, I've typed instagram.com. You have mentioned a page speed website that measures page speed, and people are asking me if you could repeat the name or even show it on your screen.
You can simply type in Google page speed.
Yeah, and that's the one I normally use.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to
this
put
is
that
how.
in. Yeah, I mean,
I can definitely share a link afterwards that goes into detail on how to optimize your website. But do not be like, way too much. Do not spend way too much time in optimizing your website. If you are getting like 90 plus on mobile and on desktop, that is more than enough. Do not run after getting 100 by 100 on your website.
Well, yeah, page speed, yes, but does it tell you one needs to update their hosting? The only thing I've snapped up recently is if your results, your speed results fluctuate in a big way. So if you have one day you have 30,
yeah,
and then you have Sunday afternoon, you redo the test when nobody is actually surfing, maybe during a European Championship football match where nobody's using the internet, and then you get a very high page speed score of like 80 or 90. That's an indication that you're sharing your host with somebody, and that you probably should look elsewhere to find something. I do have sites on a shared hosting server for a client. And I was like, yay, I have a 90 point on mobile. Thank you, this speed plugin. And then the other day I got back into it and I was like only 50. I was like, oh, that's a sad thing to see. And then, it really depends on where, on when you do. And obviously there is metrics. The time to first byte, is that a metric that is usually related to how long does it take for the server to deliver the first byte into a browser? And obviously, if this is like 5 seconds, you need to think about your hosting. And if it's not if it's like 0 point something second, you don't need to do anything. And some hosting providers give you like 7 days or 8 days or 30 days for free or money back guarantee or something. Then just try it. Go there, ask for a subdomain that is completely gaga. It doesn't make really sense. Put a copy of your website onto it and just test it yourself. Because from a marketing perspective, every server provider is fast and easy, etc. But you have to find out for yourself if your setup works, if it works for your clients that are, if your clients are near the server, that's probably a good news. But if your clients are far away from your servers, you may want to check out the server that's near your clients, or use a CDN. I mean, it's all a sort of optimization, and then there is no clear no clear strategy to follow. You have to try and error.
And in the rank math, we also have a test which is a very basic test, the response time, because we check from our US servers how quickly your website is responding. So if it is like above 0.4, 0.5, then your website is really slow. So this is something you can do in the SEO analysis. So, but again, as Gene mentioned, there is no one specific guide that works for everyone. You got to optimize your website and ensure that your images, your video, your images on your website are optimized for web. And there are several tools that you can use to optimize.
Yep. Let me check. Yeah, I mean, most of the times it all comes down to shared hosting. That's usually what makes websites slow, because you're basically sharing the bandwidth, and depending on what you do and how you do it, it can be very slow. And if you want to be 100% sure, you just need to buy your own piece of server with a guaranteed space, so that nobody is influencing your bandwidth. And then you basically choose what you want, right? But it comes at the price. I mean, you can spend like $50 or $100 or $150 per month. And it's always a question of, is it really worth it? Or, will a normal shared hosting do?
Yeah, exactly. The hosting is one of the major things we have also noticed, which impacts the speed of a website, apart from the other things. Let's say if someone is using an unoptimized plugin on their website.
Yeah, and there is a light speed server. No, there's a light speed technology.
Yeah.
Which is a different technology to serve websites. And you may want to you may want to check that out. Light speed hosting, that's the word. There's like 2 or 3 major technologies that run on servers, and apparently Lightspeed is the fastest. I've only just opened up a website on one of those servers here in Switzerland, and so far I would say it's a slight bit faster, but I haven't finished the website now.
Use LS cache with it. That's going to speed it up a lot.
Of course, that's an integral part of the service of that hosting provider. But I'm not going to put a caching plugin onto it before the site is not finished. I mean, usually styling and changing things, if you have a cache plugin, it's not 100% error free, or you don't see the result of what you're doing immediately.
Yeah.
Good. Well, I guess what's your local time, Bhanu?
It's almost midnight.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I hope it's not too late for you to finish your day.
No, everything's good. I mean, I'm really enjoying connecting with people, maybe virtually. I remember I was in Germany, and I spent almost a month there driving across the entire Germany, because where else can we get the roads where there is no driving limit? There is no speed limit.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I mean, there is
Autobahn.
a speeding limit. There is speeding limits on German Autobahn, I can tell. I had a very nice fine delivered to me in Switzerland.
Really?
I mean, don't worry, they will get you. It's not all, I thought, yeah, go for it. I mean, it wasn't even very fast, but yeah. Okay.